Okay, ready in 5, 4, 3.
So real.
We're professionals.
I know.
Now.
I know.
Count in, and Lucas
And then
is counting us in.
And he's like doing all this stuff. Takes like 10, 15,
he's really
20 minutes.
stressed about it too.
Yeah.
It's actually fun watching.
I think we should face the camera the other way sometimes in the beginning.
Should we?
Yeah. And we can just be like,
Yeah,
are we ready yet?
90 sitcom.
Have you decided on your Halloween costume yet?
Yeah, I'm doing the Mandalorian suit. Totally.
Did you get that?
It's not done.
Oh.
It's not done, but it's enough for to hand out candy to trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, it's enough to be up to
And
their
to wear it here.
standards.
I'll wear it. But I won't.
Yes.
The helmet would be kind of awkward. I don't think Lucas would like the sound.
Oh.
I think it'll be interesting.
You know, you can mic it in
You
there.
could put a mic inside.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. Are we talking about our Halloween episode?
Yeah, coming up.
Yep.
Almost
I'm gonna
done
be
with the Mando suit.
I'm
Building
going
the
to be the
couch.
Joker. Or Men in Black. I don't know. One or the other.
I'm going to be a ghost.
A ghost?
He's just going to ghost us, and
I'm just not going to be here.
Yeah, like E.T.
Yeah, I'm just
Pulling E.T. on us.
No, I'm just
Wear
going to
a
be.
ghost.
I'm going to talk from behind this curtain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cut out eyes.
Yeah, and just be like, "Ooh, I'm haunting the studio." I think that'd be fun.
I think that'll be great. You're
Is this in the camera?
Peace of mind.
We,
That'll be great.
in the absence of Bridget.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bridget isn't here today.
So we've got
Very sad. She's not with us.
Philip, the pumpkin.
She is in the land of Colorado.
Oh.
Colorado, as they say.
I've only been to the airport.
sounds exotic.
It was a long time ago, and it was the first time I ever put my hands in the sink and the water came on automatically.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, what?
Well, have you
so sanitary.
you've watched all the stuff about the airport, right? Like the conspiracies
No.
about the airport.
I don't,
No, you
I
just
don't
said
do
we just
conspiracies.
talked about this
I
for the
can't
episode. You don't
my
waste your
energy on
time
it.
with.
It's just too much work.
It's so fun.
All conspiracy theories, they're all like built on this fact that there's some really intelligent people running everything.
Yeah, which
and
they're just.
It's not.
If you've ever
I'm
been
sorry.
to like
There's a
anything
bunch of
ran by the
idiots running
government,
everything.
it's
Sorry,
not.
that's-
No, you're right.
Maybe
But
that's
it's still fun,
controversial,
though.
but
It's like reading fantasy.
my life is a Kafka novel. You know, like that's all I got. So we have.
Anyway, yep.
Ignore us.
We're okay.
Ignore us.
You're yelling.
I'm
at
trying.
us, So yeah.
But usually when there's, I want to, be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, but I guess not.
Uh-huh. So, what do you want to talk about? Like, I've been doing the Made by Dyslexia education thing. I'm trying to get through lesson 1.
That's
and there's
cool.
a lot of things in there that I wonder, like, if it's true or not.
Okay.
And these are professionals. I'm not.
Right.
So, it just,
That is a good. That is
know,
a good piece to add to
hey,
this.
we're just asking questions here.
Yep.
Doing that whole, like, fake faux news stuff.
Shout out to
like,
the
hey,
shout out
ask
to
questions.
the stuff you should know.
Yeah,
It's kind of that format,
stuff you
right?
should know. Like,
Stuff you should know.
Yeah, I just read about it, and here I am.
Yep.
So
That's exactly right.
there were two things that I want to talk about first, and we can keep it. We can break it down more,
Yeah,
or you
yeah.
can go if you want. You have ideas. You have notes.
No, yeah,
We've got
you go. You
Lots
start.
of notes in the shop.
We have more notes than I think we've ever had. So
So-
we got plenty of stuff.
The first one is totally bogus. It says that we have problems with organization.
Look at this.
I'm so organized. I have notes.
Well, and we've heard you talk about your filing system.
Yeah, I did. Well, I figured that out when I was in my 40s.
Still.
So, did you, in your like formal training with dyslexia, were there any units that dealt with organization, like in that thing? Is it like how to organize?
No. This is all what I've found. So what I have is some pieces on the Susan Barton program, which
Yes.
I talk about a lot. I was always the kid with the loose pieces of paper in my backpack.
Okay.
Right?
Me too.
That was me for a really long time. I'm really organized now. And
We had to learn that on our own.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
wasn't taught to you by Susan B. Anthony,
Susan B. Anthony.
who got a coin, by the way.
Yeah.
So good at teaching dyslexic kids.
Yeah, she didn't say anything about organization, the Susan B. Anthony program.
I forgot the name. It's the first thing.
Susan Barton.
Susan Barton.
Susan
I got
Barton.
one right.
It's all, I'm telling you, it's all phonics. So it's all like, the first lesson is literally how to learn how to pronounce letters when they're together. So they don't make any words.
Unless they're French letters that the English you took.
You're going to make this way more complicated.
I'm
than
just
it is.
saying.
And then it's like rhyming and real words.
Descartes
is one of them.
Another one.
I think you're right.
Foucault.
I need to just get the software. I need to just buy the software again, and we just go through it. And then there's all these rules. Like, it goes in all these rules, but nothing talks about organization. So were you a loose leaf paper
I was
backpack
very
kid?
disorganized, and I remember my dad being like, "Hey, your room, you got to organize." But I'm like, every kid's like that, right?
Oh,
so that's
yeah,
where I'm
yeah.
like, yeah. And my desktop is a total disaster. But
Oh, so
like,
you're still...
at the end of the semester, I put it all in folders and mark it by year. Like this was the year, and I dump it into a saving thing.
Well, see,
So I
think it
use
was-
AI to stay organized. So I am not organized at all.
I think it was 2 episodes ago that we talked about email.
Yes.
Right? And everything I have for work, like if you go to my office right now, is very organized.
Okay.
Like everything on my computer is in files, every email is in a file. But I know that like I can't do what I need to do at my job if like I don't have an aggressive amount of organization. It's just too much
Right.
stuff.
Right.
And I just can't.
I have a list by my computer.
My brain just can't.
Like of all the things I
Yeah,
got to do when I'm
yeah.
at that computer. And
Yeah.
then I have one home computer.
That makes
then-
sense.
And then Outlook like tells me, I don't know when my
Well,
class
and
starts.
you have tons of
Somewhere around 1.
you have tons of
I've
deadlines.
been teaching for 6 weeks now. Like I don't
Yeah.
even know how long I've been teaching, and I still like I don't really quite know.
But I don't think you
that'll
really.
tell me.
I don't think you really need to know that stuff. I was telling you about.
Right.
I think we
AI helps.
we talked about this on an episode when it comes to organization. I think it was either 2 episodes ago or the last episode. Is like I don't. I think dyslexia gave me a much different like relationship with time. Like I don't think about things as like summer, fall, winter, blah. Like I don't. My brain doesn't do that. I think what I talked about when I hired a lawn mowing service
Okay.
because I was going to be traveling a lot and
Over the winter. Basically.
Well, yeah. Well, I hired a lawn mowing service, and then I was like, oh, there's going to be months in the year that they're not going to be mowing. But I didn't calculate that when I did the budgeting for it. I was just
Right.
like, oh, 12 months divided by blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
Right.
no, they won't be mowing every month. But then I can't tell you how long winter is.
Yeah,
I don't know how many
have no
months it
idea.
lasts.
Well, you're in Louisville too.
Yeah.
So
but
good
like,
luck
you know what
on
I mean?
that.
There's no relation.
Miami, it's easy. It's like 2 nights, and it gets like 75 degrees. That's easy.
But I think a lot of people do that, though. They're like, oh, well, this is autumn, and this is spring, and this is fall, or whatever, and they know the months that it relates to, and all that sort of stuff. And so where I think we differ on organization, just because I think I've forced myself into it, and that was the only way that I could, like, achieve in what my career choice has been. I think that's just the direction that I've had to get hyper-organized. And I'm still not near as organized as my colleagues. Like, I'm not... That's definitely...
No, yeah.
It's definitely not what I'm used for, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
no, like Christy is so organized. She's got all these
Yep.
sheets that she's working with, and she knows when she emailed who, what person, and why, and all
Right.
that. So it's all like all codified.
Yeah.
And me, I'm like, I Google search it on my email.
And it's in there?
search. Yeah, okay, emailed them.
But
then.
see, you hit... Like, you're an academic. You've hit deadlines consistently.
Yeah.
You have classes. You have... So it's not like you're not...
No, it's not
Yeah,
like
it's
I'm
not-
like
yeah.
walking around like Einstein.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not Einstein. You know,
Right.
I'm not that smart. So I still
Technology.
say somewhat organized. And technology
So what does
helps.
it? What does it say here?
I mean,
So it
just
says we just shouldn't...
we have problems with organization, so help us to stay organized. Help your kids to stay. I'm
Yep.
saying kids because it's designed. This is
Yeah.
designed for like little children. Because if you're dyslexic, if you're not recognized and helped at an early age when you're learning to write, learning
Yes.
your alphabet,
Well, this
then
is...
that creates trouble down the road. Like me, like I dropped out of high school twice
Yep.
because I didn't like school. School never liked me. Why
Yep.
would I like school back?
That's,
you know?
that's... Yeah.
So it was one of those things. So they were like, "Hey, don't worry if this person is disorganized. Don't help them."
Well, and I
organize,
think
help
what's
them."
neat about the Susan Barton program is it does, when you talk about organization, it does break things down so fundamentally. So it as a program is very organized.
It looks
right?
very organized.
It's like so one of the things is where was it?
Looks like what my wife would do.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things is spelling and it's just contractions. Or what do you do when you have 2 letters that repeat each other in a word? Like, how do you remember that word should have 2 letters? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going very, very in detail about issues that we have.
And it's mainly reading though. There's no math.
No, I think it goes into math later.
Okay. Yeah, with math they were like, "Hey, they're not going to get their multiplication tables."
Yep.
I still don't have them.
I don't have
I
them,
have a
no.
couple,
Yeah.
and I figured out ways to figure it out, but it's still like it's complex.
Well,
for me.
I
Takes a little time.
remembered things when we did the multiplications tables in elementary school. I remembered, like, they'd have like the rhymes.
Oh.
I still have those rhymes remembered wrong, and therefore will never
yeah.
ever be able to know that multiplication table.
Man.
And there's no reason. It's one of
Yeah.
those things too that.
Well, we
it's one of
mix
those-
words together.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's one of those things too that I think that now, and maybe it's different because I just went through the formal training on it. Like I could fix any of those things that I wanted if I wanted to. Like I could go and memorize my multiplication tables now. I
Okay.
could.
Yeah, I probably could too. But
why? Why the
Yeah.
hell would I do any of that? Right.
Use my phone.
And so there's like this gap for me in knowledge because of the fact that I am dyslexic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like I could go and fill that now, but there's no reason to fill it because you move past it.
Right.
But there's this stuff that like
But it's like a hurdle that shouldn't be there.
exactly. Well, it's
That's
like
the
these.
thing.
It's like kids know how to do like typing the right way, and kids are multiplication tables. And a lot of people can write in cursive, and a lot of people can tell time on like an analog clock. I can't do any of that, but there's no reason for people to do it now. But it was still something that hindered all of that. I have to draw. All that stuff hindered me from doing the next thing.
Right.
For no reason.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So it's a hurdle that now in my life, there's a reason I don't want to go back and fill it because it's for what I do and what I want to do.
There's no point.
There's no point.
Really no point.
So why was it ever there in the first place? So there should be a way that you can say
British.
Yeah, that's
why it's
right.
there.
It's always the British.
It's always the
Shawn.
British. It is.
Yep.
Always.
They're the ones that built our education system.
But you should just be able to, okay, we see that this person's having a lot of struggle here, right? You should just be able to go, okay, well, they get to go here.
Yeah, just
let's
forget
see how they
that.
do here. Yeah,
So
let's
you
see how
can't
they do
memorize
here.
multiplication. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And they're like, let them use a calculator. Which
yeah.
was like, but when I was a kid, like the calculator was something only the boss had at a big corporation. It was huge.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
like it was high tech.
Yeah.
And it was expensive. That was in 71. Jeez. And all the way through, I don't know. It wasn't until the 80s when you had those like
Little-
calculators on your phone, on your
watch.
watch.
Yeah, on
That's
your
what
watch,
it's
yeah.
That was a thing?
Yeah.
I never knew about that.
Yeah, you got to Google it. That it was a thing, and the teachers would walk around and make sure you didn't have that technology before you took the test
I remember when
Why?
I took
because they didn't want you using it. You had to memorize everything.
my friend was I had a really, really smart friend in high school. And when I took the ACT, he had developed a program on the TI-83 that could solve like most math problems if you just fully typed them in as they were
Right.
written down. And my calculator got taken.
Yeah.
Because they found it in there.
Yeah.
Because they did the calculator check.
And you had nice calculators then. Too,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, we had good TI-83s
There were
back
no,
then. Yeah.
and even the 80s calculators were really basic.
Oh, but I got
but it helped me.
I got 20% through the math portion
Yeah.
probably on those stupid tests.
do that.
But I think it's really frustrating, and we always go back to that there's these unnecessary hurdles that
They're
I
just
think-
built into the system,
well,
and
I
it's
think
so
that
hard
if
to
someone
take
was
them out.
minorly educated on learning like differences, disabilities, whatever you want to call it, that they would be able to pretty easily spot it and say, okay, let's move.
Yeah,
on.
let's just go. Okay,
Yeah,
you get a calculator.
Yep.
Everyone else seems to have their multiplication
Exactly,
memorized.
and there's always that. There's this new age, and you don't teach young kids, but you have young kids. Of well, if they get a calculator, why doesn't everybody get a calculator? Well, 'cause they're different, and that's what was happening when I was growing up. Because I got a bunch
to
of
sit all day and go around in a chair with wheels.
Yep.
And you don't.
Exactly, they're different, and I got a lot of flack in. I always talk about the educational isolationism, right? I always got
you were pulled out.
Why does he get to go be in his own classroom? Why does he get extra time? Why does he get blah, blah, blah?
Yeah. In college, you got that. Or
And-
did you
and
get that
one-
in high school,
I got
too?
that in high school,
'Cause
too.
you were
I got in
you were
high
an
school.
advocate
I got
back
in
then.
college. I got it in middle school. I was just in like mentally, I don't know the right word, mentally like disabled classes, like fully.
Like the actual like handicapped. Or,
Yeah, like where. Yeah,
So like the extreme cases, not the actual not like.
Yeah, no. It's like if you couldn't grasp the information quickly, they would and
just throw
I
it-
moved around so much, it never happened to me.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where, like, well, obviously,
My mom-
you don't have the aptitude, so you need to go into this room.
Yep,
where you
and you
teach
just-
more relevant stuff for you, and
But
it wasn't the aptitude.
one thing that was really interesting. I was talking to my mom the other day, and she said you should bring this up on your podcast.
Okay. Oh
And
yeah,
it's-
my dad said I should bring some up.
Well, it's a quick little story. She goes, you came home from school one time.
Better
in
be a
middle
good
school.
story,
It has to be. a
because
good
I don't
story.
want effing Jamie TT commenting anymore.
He hates my story.
I think you're giving like way too much room.
I just having fun.
Yeah, it's just
Come on.
fun.
See, the thing is, Shawn, we want to be living in his head rent free not the other way around.
Oh, I just think it's such a great name. I want to
do
drop
too.
F and Jamie TT. That'll be
F
the
and
name of my
Jamie TT.
band. Let's start a band.
Yeah, F and Jamie TT. Can I change both of our social medias to
Yes.
F and Jamie 1 and 2?
Let's just make that the podcast. That would be great.
Well, because his opinions are really, really important to
relevant.
us, and really.
There's not one unimportant opinion. You know?
I just thought it was funny.
It was.
I think he's great. I'd like to have a video chat with him. I'll be honest with you.
No, I don't want that.
No. Anyway,
No, we're not doing that.
So, do you have a relevant story to connect?
yeah. So
Is it good?
But remember, we have
you guys have actually
Sorry.
the team's actually
It's
ruined
fun.
it because it's kind of an emotional
It's actually
story,
really fun.
and
Okay.
so now we've really thrown ourselves out of the more serious conversation we were having.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
Let's hear it, but just remember, we do have a Q&A today.
Okay.
Right.
get
So what
to
happened was
touch
it was
on
cool. She goes, "You came home." It's not cool actually. I'm just trying to.
I mean, it's you, so
It's a
that's
Trying to-
transitional.
it's you,
phrase.
but
Just transitional
you know,
phrase.
Tell us your story.
So what happened is I came home, and it was after I'd spent like the semester had changed, or however it worked back then, right? You
At school?
At school,
Okay.
yeah. And I'm in middle school, and I'd come home,
Ugh.
and I'd spent 5 hours on homework, whatever it is, where they're sitting you at the table and they're like, you have to
Worksheets.
worksheets and do this, and I can't get through any of them. And I know that these worksheets are like different than the worksheets that other kids are getting, and they're very, very simple, and I know that for some reason I can't figure them out, and that's why I don't get the other worksheets, right? So I understand that. I'm trying to be delicate here. I understand they're different from what my other classmates are doing, what my friends are doing.
Right.
And so I looked at my mom, and this was telling me,
But it was like really simple stuff that they
it
were
was
asking?
super simple stuff because it was like, it was super simple stuff because it was for people that actually had, real differences.
Right.
However you want to say that. So what happens is, I just looked at my mom and I said, "What did I do wrong?" And I started crying.
Why am I here? Yeah.
Yeah, and I started crying.
This is
and this was
boring.
in like later middle school, right? So I'm kind of older, and I was like, "What did I do wrong?" And that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
That's the
Because you could be
that's
solving
the type of
real problems.
It's exactly right.
That's not where they're testing.
Nope. And so she reminded me of that story. There's a
Wow.
lot of others
That's a
like
good
it. That is,
one.
what did I do wrong? Right?
Yeah.
Like, what a phrase. And that's what we're making people think, that they're being punished or they're being ostracized or whatever it is just because they're different.
Right.
And it's crazy.
Yeah. The education system that was built by Great Britain
Yep.
treats every human like a carton of milk.
Yep.
You have this expiration date, and then you can do this, and then you do,
And then
that,
you do that.
and this is the way it goes. And it worked a long time, and now it doesn't work, and thank goodness they are changing
That's
that.
exactly right.
Which is
And that's why this
kudos
is
to
important.
Great Britain. Yeah.
Yeah, kudos to them. So we're going to do a new thing now that we have some questions.
Yeah.
We're going to do a new thing, which is exciting. We have one question by Anthony Grief.
A good question.
Which was in reference to our whole episode, which we're going to reference later, but specifically our short about the history of the written language.
Yeah, the short doesn't go into a lot of detail,
Yeah.
so I can see that confusion.
So he says, hang on, I'm confused. Why would writing stem from dyslexia rather than people wanting to record personal histories, private contracts, rituals, and holy texts, etc.?
Stop there.
So that's the first part.
Right.
Yep.
And I think, Anthony?
Yes.
Anthony, if you watch earlier episodes, we talked about the Sumerians and the way they invented writing. Now, there's some debate. Did the Egyptians do it, or did the Sumerians do it? I would argue that they probably traded a lot. So
for sure.
I would say the Sumerians. There's at least a level of archaeology that you can actually see how it formed. It formed from little clay figurines to little balls where the figurines were kept.
Yep.
And then figurines that were pressed on the outside of balls, and then eventually where the figurines were just pressed on a flat clay tablet.
Yep.
That is really interesting. And so it's all very picture based. And so the jump is, who are the most creative people on this planet?
Yep.
I'm going to say dyslexic
And
people
why
are pretty freaking creative.
And they'd be jumping to visual things first.
Visual things.
Right? More than anything.
Right.
So he moves on to say...
And commerce was a part of it.
Exactly. And he moves on to say, not to say that dyslexic people haven't done great things, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah, true
But
that.
the assertion that writing must have came from dyslexics because dyslexics can't remember things is a bit
Yeah, I know. It was a short.
And it was, and I think
I
that
think
was...
part of it is there's some stereotypes about dyslexia.
Yes.
About reading, because people only associate dyslexia with the whole
reading.
With the whole game.
Oh, you
game
can't read.
letters,
You can't
big
spell.
stuff.
Ha ha ha.
So like, I think that has something to do with that.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
it's
Yeah.
conceptual.
Totally get that. Yeah.
And then so
It's
we
understandable.
yeah, totally.
So he goes on to say also the architects of the word as we know it were no way in hell neurotypical people. Almost anyone who's left their mark on this world, ancient or otherwise, would likely be diagnosed with some sort of mental illness, or particularly that set them apart from the rest of the population.
So pretty much on the same page.
So,
And I would agree with human history, but not since the British Empire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and
Sorry.
I would say that
Totally
he also took a jump too,
neurotypical.
which is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
He
taking a
has his
jump.
own-
He's
he
taking
has
a
his own theory.
And
he is taking a jump.
It
there at
sounds
the end.
like Anthony's an advocate.
And we
so
appreciated
glad
the
to have
comment.
Anthony on board.
I would
listen to our podcast.
That's exactly what we want too, a discussion of theories and ideas.
Yeah, totally. Okay, good. Because I just quickly read it and
Yep.
didn't think about it. Because one of the thoughts I thought was going on there was how the history of language would have been against the dyslexic thinking. And it wasn't for a long time until you had the phonic sounds. And even then it wasn't, because you had multiple spelling styles.
Yep.
So you could, if you look at ancient
Wouldn't it
Greek
just depend
texts,
on the region that you were in?
the monk would read it, and or Latin, the monk would read it, and everybody in all the scribes would write the book. That's how you bought books back then. Some scribe wrote it, and they had different ways of spelling words.
Yep.
It wasn't a big
And so
deal.
it didn't really matter.
It wasn't a big deal until the British Empire
Came and organized
tried to organize
all of
it. Yes,
And they did it.
and they tried to base it on Latin.
Yep.
Which was a dead language. It doesn't
and I
move
think
anymore.
I think it's cool because, as we always, hate on the British Empire, they
No,
created this
not
schematic.
anymore. This
Yeah,
is
exactly.
made by Dyslexics.
They created the schematic, and
Made
now
good.
they are improving. So I think that we're excited to have the questions. We're happy.
What's 500 years of being tormented?
Yeah, exactly.
Very good
Water
interaction.
under the table.
It's great interaction. I love the passion and the just the search for understanding, because that's what this whole show is about.
Yeah, totally. We're trying to do it too.
What has for centuries been a silenced perspective. So this is great. So Anthony, thank you for your
Thank you, Anthony.
for your take.
You had a final piece you wanted to do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So Lucas, in honor of you, I thought we could try to do a real good closing this time, and we'll try to make it part
we've
of our
written it
thing.
down and organized it.
I would
So,
appreciate that.
So thank you all for listening to Dyslexics Untied.
Thank
Fist in
you.
the air. I'm Shawn,
Like and subscribe. I'm Jacob.
and tune in next week when Jacob asks.
Hey Shawn, can I borrow a scrunchie? I think that's great. I think that's really good.
See you guys next time.
Thank you everyone for joining us on Dyslexics Untied. New episodes every Saturday on Spotify and YouTube. Also, catch us on TikTok.